Please state your name and whether you're on for or against the bill, and you've got 2 minutes.
Okay. My name is Alice Linahan, and I am the Vice President of Women on the Wall. More importantly, I'm a mother of 3 children. 2 of them went through public school, or my last one I homeschooled, and then he's back in public school. I want to address my concern. I'm against the bill.
Okay.
My concern is you're not focusing on why, a key component of why teachers are leaving the field. They're leaving the field because there's been a shift in education away from academics, reading, writing, math, and history, to values, beliefs, and behaviors and social emotional learning. Since TASA's new vision for public education that aligns our standards to the federal Every Student Succeeds Act, we have seen a huge uptick in student discipline. And what the focus of that is the next step is online virtual learning. And we already know that there's bills bringing that in. We need to talk about what teachers are being forced to do in the classroom that is not academic, that is doing psychological profiling on our children. And a lot of teachers don't agree with it, and that's why they're leaving. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and take your testimony. State your name.
Okay. My name is Meg Bakich, and I'm from Highland Park, and I'm a mother of 5. And I've been here multiple times speaking on education. And what has alarmed me is in Highland Park, we became part of the consortium, and then we adopted TASA's vision that Alice just spoke about. And what's happened is all of these laws that come from Austin are harming the education of our students, because you're trying to reinvent the wheel, and this 21st century learning is a shamble, and our teachers know it. So our veteran teachers who know how to teach reading, writing, math, they are leaving the classroom. They're leaving in droves because the classrooms become all about social emotional learning and the mental health of children, and putting the children on devices and constant assessments. And these assessments aren't testing, does a child know 2 + 2 is 4? The assessment is assessing their behavior, how they feel that day. And so for teachers, that's not why they got into the profession. They're not trained psychologists. That's not what they graduated from school to do. And the other problem is they're not being valued. So when you see a district like mine spending millions of dollars on technology while our teachers are not being paid correctly or their due value, that is a slight on their profession. So we're valuing technology over teachers. And in this bill, the power is being given again to the TEA, Mike Morath. And Mike Morath, for the last 6 years, has done nothing but fail our students. And if I was the CEO, or if I was on the board and he was the CEO of my company, he'd be fired. And so I'm aghast that he would be given any more power when his whole mission is to put Texas in digital learning through his high quality instructional materials. It's all digital. HB3 Science of Reading, it's all digital. When you hear people talking about data and the efficacy,
Meg, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to wrap it up.
Okay, you're talking about mining children's data, and that's all on a device. And we have, during the next generation of assessments and accountability, when Dr. Orr, who was our superintendent at that time, stated that in Texas, we've mined more data than any other state. This is all being done without parental consent and permission. And so teachers know this. And if we want to value our teachers, let's stop investing in technology, and let's remove big tech from owning the classroom, and let's make teachers own it.
We've got to wrap it up, because the reason why we ask that is just if we don't extend other witnesses, then we disenfranchise them by limiting them and then letting a few go longer. But I was going to extend your testimony just by asking a question. And I appreciate both of you being here. So you mentioned validation of teachers and them being heard. That in my layout, safety, validation, and support, 1 and 2 of the reason for bringing this bill forward. Those are the number 1 and 2 provisions of most teacher surveys in public schools, from El Paso ISD to Beaumont ISD, from North Texas to the Valley. Safety's 1. Support and validation and work environment is number 2. So you're hitting right at the heart of why we're bringing this bill forward. Now, keep in mind, as much as we're thankful for your testimony, we have 8,000 other bills. So much of what you may be looking for may not, even though this is a good omnibus multiple subject start to backing up and lifting up our Texas teachers, it's not all encompassing because we've got other legislation. We hope that you'll be here to let us hear from you on those bills as well. Okay. My question just briefly is, do you support Texas public classroom teachers designing their own lesson plans? Or do you support the lesson plan being promulgated and designed for them? And it's a very important question to me. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
But if teachers are leaving the profession because of all the SEL and everything coming in and being imposed on them, then it seems like to me it would be logical that you would be for them supporting, for them being able to design their own lesson plans. But then if those very lesson plans inherent within themselves are promoting the very things that you're not for today in your testimony, how do you reconcile that?
Okay, so I am for the teacher autonomy in the classroom.
Okay.
And that's the way that I would say that you would be able to control, like, is a teacher just going to put the child on the device all day or because that's really what it is. It's about choosing between 21st century learning, TASA's vision, the anytime, anywhere learning, or choosing between a traditional classroom with a teacher who's a sage on the stage and books, paper, pencil, and a strong academic curriculum. And when you talk to teachers, and most importantly, when you talk to parents, and when you talk to the two of them together, they all want the traditional education because they recognize that that's what serves their students and their children best. And so that's why I believe autonomy in the classroom should be the teachers. And if a parent has an issue with that is a local control issue. That's why we have our locally elected representatives with our school boards. I mean, and if there's an issue there, what I have found is that problem really is TASB, because TASB needs to go away. So that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But I think it needs to be a locally controlled issue. I think teachers need to be respected and have autonomy in their classroom. And I think that the choice that parents and teachers want is between the curriculum, how the class is run. Is it going to be run as a 21st century learning class where it's all on a device and digital, or is it going to be traditional, that the education you and I received, which is an academic education? And that would be my answer.
You enhanced off of the question that I asked, but your answer is you're for teachers designing lesson plans no matter the outcome, and the local district and the parents and the families should be the safeguard and the protection and the balance based on that. In our next bill related to parental rights, I think some of those provisions strike at the heart of exactly what you're talking about, but do we get it completely right in the draft of the sentence where school districts are given tremendous flexibility and dollars? We can't mandate everything, and they don't want us to. No, we don't. But some of the things that you mentioned that you're concerned about are district level, local control type decisions that are resulting in some of the outcomes that you speak of. So we're all for local control, but many families converge on the Capitol during session when there's local out of control. Right?
Well, actually, you say that there's local control, but the truth of the matter is, in the last 6 years, that pendulum has really swung, and the TEA has the power, and our State Board of Education no longer even has power. And I learned that because I met with my different trustees, and I was very upset about Teach Chapter 120, the character traits, teaching government character traits in schools. Yeah. And they informed me we didn't want that. That came from I think it was Senate Bill 123, thank you. Senate Bill 123 and TEA and Mike Morath. And so So when you say, well, that's a district issue, you need to, take it up with them. It's not a district issue. It's the power's been given to the state, and it needs to return to the district. Because I didn't choose Mike Morath. I would never choose Mike Morath. He's appointed. And when we have my state board of education rep tell me I don't have any control over that, then that was like a real opening light bulb moment where I thought, wow, I'm already living in tyranny. I just didn't know it. I thought I elected my representative and they represented me, but they don't. It's actually Mike Morath, and I didn't choose him.
And that pendulum swings also, right? The SBOE will have tremendous power in some years, and then the legislature will convene, and because of the voices of our families saying they've got too much authority, sometimes the legislature passes bills and pulls that authority back, and there's only a TEA commissioner in some situations or an SBOE that decision-making punts back and forth, and it's a reflection of the voices that come into the Capitol to affect the will of the decisions of the members. Mm-hmm. And that is a political football in and of itself if you look at 25 years of how that power shift has shifted back and forth. Soon you may see the shift go back to the SBOE, and that's why I started out mentioning the 8,000 bills we have in the session, so stay tuned. Alice, do you support keeping public schools open, and do you feel like public school teachers should be able to design their lesson plans? If you could, be concise.
I do. Public schools are run by elected officials, our local school boards.
That's right.
If we collapse our traditional public school system, we have eliminated local control.
Yeah.
One key element I think that you need to look at in autonomy and teachers writing their own curriculum is the professional development that teachers are getting through the education service centers. There is social emotional learning is mandated by law, as Meg said. Then teachers are trained, their professional development is on how to bring this into the classroom. We need to take a deep look at TASA and their new vision for public education that has shifted the control away. And I am for teacher autonomy, but teachers, we need to have a serious look at the professional development of teachers and how they're being trained to write that curriculum.
Good. We really appreciate your feedback and input today. Thanks for the additional information and